They want to fight Ambazonia, right? Cameroon want the people that want to fight Ambazonia are now fighting themselves. Those that said they want to fight Ambazonia, they can fight Ambazonia. They have what it takes to fight Ambazonia. Are now fighting themselves. Are now killing themselves. Are now destroying themselves. And are now busy destroying Cameroon itself. Well, do they listen? No, they don't. If you want to fight Ambazonia, you will end up fighting yourself. Siseko told them, if you want to fight Ambazonia, you will end up destroying Cameroon itself. Weber told them, if you want to fight Ambazonia, you will lose Cameroon. Dr. Cho told them, today, it's Mr. Biya, the impostor president, versus Issa Chiroma, the president-elect. This is now the primary political conflict in Cameroon. It is now a political war between Chiroma and Mr. Biya. Between the people of Cameroon and an illegal regime that counts on the military, on the security forces for legitimacy. There are conflicts popping up everywhere and every day because there is no center of gravity. There is no one in charge. Mr. Biya, the impostor president who rigged the election, since he took the propaganda post or oath, he has recoiled to his bunker. Can't speak to diplomats, can't speak to head of states. The henchmen are giggling, tussling, battling each other for the control of state resources. They want to fight Ambazonia, right? Welcome to the golden age. Fellow good people of Ambazonia, we've proven ourselves. We've shown Cameroon who we are, what we are capable of. The tides have turned. There's no leadership in Cameroon. The slaves are taking over. Atanganji is now acting as the president of Cameroon, acting as the prime minister of Cameroon, on city in Cameroon. It has no right, there's no left, there's no front, and there's no backward. So where are we? Let us bring you a video of a policy statement reaffirmed by Siseko Ayoktabe Julius, the Ambazonian leader abducted in Nigeria, statement Siseko Ayoktabe made. And that will give you
of caliber, preferably the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and we want to call on the table France, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, and hopefully the United States of America. These players must come to the table to watch us make our case. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of federation. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of his decentralization. We are going to the table to negotiate the terms of our separation.
Let's listen to that one more time, please. One more time.
Of caliber, preferably the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and we want to call on the table France, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, and hopefully the United States of America. These players must come to the table to watch us make our case. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of federation. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of his decentralization. We are going to the table to negotiate the terms of our separation.
This should help all Ambazonians across the board to have this in mind. There are a lot of statements that have been thrown out there, especially from Issa Chiroma during his campaign, and some of the statements the people around him have been making regarding, he's going to offer the Ambazonian people a return to federation. Issa Chiroma cannot offer the Ambazonian people anything. Okay? Cameroon does not have the authority to offer anything to the Ambazonian people. They can't. What have they offered themselves? What have they offered themselves to be able to offer something to the Ambazonian people? So we understand when most of you go out there and you listen to a lot of these statements coming from Mr. Chiroma and the people around him, and you listen to some of the statements by these Ambazonians, guide. That should be your sense of clarity, your sense of understanding. That should be your focus. What's the policy on this? What's the Siseko policy on negotiation? What's Dr. Cho's policy on negotiation? You listen to Siseko, you listen to Dr. Cho, they speak the same language when it comes to the issue of negotiation. The same language, same policy. That's your clarity. And certain. Let's go back to Cameroon, shall we? Over the weekend, truck drivers, the people that sustain Cameroon's economy, especially in the Grand North. Remember, without the Grand North, the South Center cannot sustain themselves. Beef, 90% of the beef onion, ginger, potatoes comes from the Grand North. So there was an episode over the weekend where a truck driver was stopped by the gendarmerie and they asked for bribe. He said, well, this is all I can give you. And then they gave him a slap right on the face. Other drivers saw that. They said, this is an insult to every driver. Why? They decided to do collective action. They staged a protest. They started a protest. The governor came, mayors came, they brought in the commandant of the gendarmerie to talk to them. They said, no, we can't be treated this way. The abuse must stop. There is nothing sensible. The governor could talk to them. The governor instead was threatening them. The truck drivers did some block the road in my Ganga. And this is the spot, the town, where traffic has to go through for all of these trucks to get to the center south. For 3 days. There was no movement going south. There was no movement going north. Then the truck drivers, they put two demands to the regime in Yaoundé and the regional governor. Number one, this between Maiganga and Yaoundé, there are 93 checkpoints. 93. Each truck driver has to pay 2,000 francs per checkpoint. Now imagine you're a truck driver, you have 93 checkpoints. How much is that? They said of this truck driver during the chaos that followed the presidential election. They said there were a lot of truck drivers that were arrested and they are still in detention. We want not only the truck drivers to be released, we want all other Camerooners that were arrested in the Grand North, Extreme North, North, and Adamawa. We want all of those people to be released. So the colonial governor and Mr. Tanganjipor accused the truck drivers of being influenced by whom? Issa Chiroma. So they said, no. Your demands have to be about the work you do, driving trucks. They should not involve political demands. They said, no. Well, we have our colleagues. Hundreds of truck drivers are still in detention. So we want them to be released. So Mr. Tanganjipor and the colonial governor and the gendarmerie commander, they said, no. In Cameroon, we don't dialogue. Every social grievances, trade union grievances, there's only one solution: deploy the military. So overnight, they send the bees from Yaoundé, from Douala, and all over centers. Special forces to resolve social issues with trade unionists. They send the special forces. Special forces? Interesting. So the bee came. What did they do? They went, they got caterpillars, bulldozers. They destroyed hundreds of trucks. Instead of to negotiate with these truck drivers that are protesting, to look into the issues and resolve the issues, they escalate the situation. They destroyed hundreds of trucks, including the content. All the goods, everything. These 4 everything destroyed. People sustain. Now, what do you think will happen to the truck owners, the truck drivers, and the contractors whose goods were built to or enemies of the illegal regime? Are they turning these truck drivers into friends, into good citizens, or into rebels and supporters of a regime change operation. Let's watch the video. How the bees destroy these trucks. Let's watch this video and we'll start to get the message of what Cameroon.
Cameroun avec l'appui des ennemis de la République. Alors ce candidat n'a pas attendu les résultats. Il s'est autoproclamé vainqueur avec ses affidés, ses complices.
They can to their own citizens. If they can do this to their own entrepreneurs, if they can do this to their own investors, if this is the behavior of the regime, who else will want to invest in Cameroon to see their investments be destroyed? This is the image that Cameroon is sending out to the international community after the October 12th contested of governance has been, the rule of law has been suspended. The use of force has become the official law of Cameroon. Where is this coming from? It's coming from somewhere. There is somebody who is now in charge of the governance of Cameroon. Paul. Let's listen very carefully. How he describes and what he thinks of the Cameroonese people. Watch and listen, and that will tell you the current state of affairs in Cameroon, the direction of Cameroon, and the future of Cameroon. Watch, listen carefully to the minister.
Le Cameroun, avec l'appui des ennemis de la République. Alors ce candidat n'a pas attendu les résultats. Il s'est autoproclamé vainqueur avec ses affidés, ses complices. Et ils ont poussé les Camerounais à revendiquer une victoire qui n'existe pas. C'est le Conseil constitutionnel qui proclame les résultats d'une élection présidentielle. Dès lors que nous avons terminé les votes, les rapports sont envoyés au Conseil constitutionnel qui les examine avant de proclamer. Alors ceux qui prennent ce risque de s'écarter de la légalité pour perturber le processus électoral, ils s'exposent aux sanctions. Les lois de la République doivent être respectées. Et dans ce domaine, la République doit être exemplaire quand il s'agit de traquer, n'est-ce pas, les ennemis, ceux qui ne veulent pas respecter ces lois. Donc, nous avons rendu compte au chef de l'État parce qu'il a voulu savoir ce qui se passait et nous avons constaté, comme le chef de l'État a dit lui-même lors de la prestation de serment, qu'il y avait des violences inouïes dans certaines régions. Mais grâce au professionnalisme de nos forces de défense et de sécurité, sur l'encadrement des autorités administratives, on a vite maîtrisé le désordre. On n'a pas laissé prospérer le désordre pendant longtemps. Parce que, dites-vous, les assaillants étaient drogués. Ils avaient des armes blanches, ils avaient des armes de guerre. Ils ont drogué les enfants avec le tramadol, les whisky en sachet. Ils ont pillé, brûlé, vandalisé, détruit les biens publics, les biens privés, incendié les sous-préfectures, incendié les bureaux de l'ECAM. Donc il y aura une facture à payer, bien évidemment. Et ceux qui sont comptables sont ceux qui ont lancé ces mots d'ordre irresponsables pour revendiquer une prétendue victoire qui n'a jamais existé. Donc, sur ce, les gens ont été interpellés, environ 1250. Il y avait beaucoup de mineurs, environ 300 mineurs, 12, 14, 16 ans. Et puis...
If the government rigs an election and you decide to protest, you're a criminal. That with that is because they are taking drugs. They are criminals. They are bandits. Because they are carrying arms for war. Because they are following and listening to some fictitious president. Atanganji is even afraid to call Chiroma's name. Now imagine if this is the state minister who is now in charge of the governance of Cameroon, if that is the language, his language becomes state policy. This is linguistics. The language, the official language of a state official becomes state policy. If you protest in Cameroon, you are now something that's wrong, like holding the government accountable to express their dissatisfaction. But they will label the population in order to justify the killings of the population. So we have to label them. We have to give them a name that makes them to become immediate criminals to justify the actions of a murderous and a them of rebellion, of terrorist organization. Where is Diongute? Since the stolen election, where is the colonial prime minister? Atanganji has taken over. Atanganji is now the unofficial prime minister of Cameroon. He has elevated himself from Minister of Territorial Administration to the Commander-in-Chief of the Gendarmerie, of the police, of the army, and of the special forces. He's everywhere, projecting himself, raining on everybody. In a way that makes it inconvenient for the colonial prime minister, who is very shy, to even be able to speak as his prime minister. There's no more space for Diongute. Atanganji has pushed everyone aside. The prime minister has no space, he has no voice. Responsibilities of the prime minister are now conducted by Mr. Atanganji Paul. These are not coincidences. This is statecraft of the new regime. This is the current Cameroon, and this is the future Cameroon. A journalist who wrote an article about the protest led by truck drivers has now been summoned by the head of the military intelligence in the Grand North. Don't be surprised. Tomorrow, he will be charged for encouraging insurrection. The Cameroonese people, if this is how they treat their own citizens, what about you, the people in the occupied territory? What about you? This morning, we've also read from Nzui Manton, the Cameroonese whistleblower and the blogger. He put out a post kidnap them. Gendarmes are now making a demand for ransom of 10 million francs. Gendarmes. We explained to all of you how the business of kidnapping for ransom was introduced by the Cameroon military and security forces in the occupied territory of Ambazonian. We've explained this several times. They are now transferring that behavior from the occupied territory in Ambazonia back into their own territory. Gendarmes and the bees in Cameroon are now doing kidnapping for ransom of their own citizens inside Cameroon. And that's the state you want to be a part of? Is this a regime you want to be a part of? Kidnapping citizens? Demanding ransom? A state minister called peaceful protesters labels them as terrorists. Drug terrorists, alcoholics, criminals. So if they label you a terrorist, then they will treat you as a terrorist. If they label you as armed gangs, then they will treat you as armed gangs. If they label you as drug addicts, then they will treat you as drug addicts. They label you as people that are taking orders as terrorists, and you're taking order from a fictitious president, then they will treat you as such. Language. This is Cameroon. This is the future. This is not only the present, but this is now the future. Because they must prove that they have legitimacy at all cost. They must terrorize everyone to submission. This is the game. We've rigged the election, yes. Now we have to prove we're in charge. You must be submissive. You can't protest. You can't speak against what we've done. You can't write against what we've done. They carry on. So do you have a state? or the state is being governed by a cartel. Let's go back to Ambazonia. Interestingly, the defiant, the courageous, and the brave people of Ambazonia are not giving the occupier any break. Yesterday, the people within Tiko and Mutengene, mostly our mothers, they said, hey, listen, Mr. Occupier, you extract all the resources from CDC. We have no development. The people in Fako so they said, so Ambazonian to join them. It's mostly women's led protest. Ambazonian mothers took to the streets and blocked the main highway that connects even to La République. Demanding what? We want basic services. Electricity. Let's watch the video from our courageous mothers in Mutengene.
le budget kati ande ite wala Mutengene do ni yon himbe do hafida asa restriction dal boya oui et online.
So this took place yesterday. This is the courage of the Ambazonian people. This is the bravery of our mothers who call their children to join them. To tell the occupier, you exploit our basic occupier. We've not had light, no electricity, no running water for months and months and months and months and months and months. Why are we so rich, endowed with wealth and abundance, enormous natural resources? We can have basic services. So the colonial mayor showed up and said, hey, listen, I'm also affected. I'm also worried. So he had a conversation with the population and asked the population to give him a couple of weeks. There are about 28 transformers will be installed around and within Fako. So there is a rendezvous in January. Why are we facing all these problems? We're facing all these problems because the cartels that have taken over Cameroon since 1960 and took over Ambazonian in 1961, they destroyed Ambazonian industries and infrastructures. Power come. From a dare in La République. So they have to transport electricity from a dare to Kumba. Why can you not just restore the power camp? Why can you not just restore the power camp that you destroyed? They can't do that because that would mean development to the Ambazonian people, because that will create employment, high-paying jobs. It means Ambazonia is going to industrialize. We don't want you to have life. So we have to keep you in darkness. We have to keep you backward. We have to keep you poor. This is the whole psychology of taking over infrastructure, draining those infrastructure, shut them down, so that you shut down quality and high-paying employment, so that the people can now rely on the colonial and occupation governance, on occupation administrators for their own survival. This is the psychology of occupation. And this is why people are suffering. So we have legitimate rights to fight for our existence and the future of our children. We have legitimate rights to kick the occupier out. As Dr. Cho said, to fight them block by block, to get these looters out of our territory so that we can install a government that responds to the aspirations, the needs, the hope, the dreams, and the welfare of the Ambazonian people. Over the last 6 weeks, Ambazonian City, we've never 2-3 operations every single week. From Momo to Boyo to Ngoketunjai to Fako, across the Ambazonian territory, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, Ambazonian forces, Ambazonian Liberation Forces occupy breeding. 2 Cameroon terrorist occupation gendarmes were taken out of Ikata 2 days ago. There's no breathing space. A total of and 97 190 have lost Amazonia. Fighting a war without a purpose, fighting a war without an aim, fighting a war without an outcome. And as a result, they have become despondent, frustrated. They've become kidnappers for ransom, arsonists, rapers, looters, and petty criminals. So we are doing extremely great. Self-defense, which is only 25% of the overall liberation strategy, is very effective, and our forces of liberation is extremely strong. As we're coming closer and closer and closer to the end of the year, you can make the assessment on your own. Everything happening in Cameroon is as a result in Ambazonian. The result of Mr. Bia's war in Ambazonia. What you're seeing happening across Cameroon is as a result of Mr. Bia's war in Ambazonia. We told them and we warned them. They are reaping what they have sown. This is just the beginning. Cameroon political chaos, social chaos, and economic chaos, this is just the beginning. Few days, we're going to make a comprehensive report of the state of the liberation. As we've informed our people, there is underground movement of talks. The desperate regime is looking for legitimacy. The international system is looking at mechanisms and ways. If this is possible, or this is just part of the gimmicks, or this is just part of the distraction. Nothing is concrete, but we have an obligation to always inform our people when these political games are being played, whether they are real or they are just normal political games. Ambazonian is watching, we are studying it, leadership is involved in every direction. We have to be involved, we have to be proactive. It's still on the run. Nobody wants to die. Even those that claim that they are tough and they are very close to Mr. Bia. Mr. Bala has said, I'm very close to Mr. Bia. I'm very close to the Prime Minister. I'm untouchable. Nobody can touch me. I am a Gobala. Mr. Bala is on the run. They said they believe in the regime. The regime can change. You can reform the regime. You can change Mr. Bia. You can change Atanganji. You can change the Cameroon state. They said you can change Mr. Bia. Mr. Bala is on the run. The death, the assassination of Mr. Kane has sent a chilling warning to everyone. So Mr. Bala is now in Toronto. I don't know if seeking a refuge, he's asked for political asylum, or just for a temporal stay. Last week he was in Montreal, and this week he's in Toronto. He's posted videos of himself going to the Toronto Raptors game. So, even Bala is afraid of death. Now only the fear die. The heat is on. Those that said they are very close to Mr. Bia, even those people are on the run. I'm very close to the Prime Minister. I'm also on the run. So the game is on. Chiroma, coming for you and your family. The assassination of Mr. Ekane is just the beginning of the cleanup that's taking place in Cameroon. Cameroon as a state is going to go through a very terrible and tough, rough. The people of Cameroon until the people of Cameroon, not just a few, not just supporters of Chiroma, but all the citizens of Cameroon, they all have to come to the conclusion that enough is enough. Mr. Bia, the CPDM regime must go. There are no prospects for peace in Cameroon, for stability in Cameroon, or for anyone to have a decent life in Cameroon. So it's more dark days, dark times ahead for Cameroon. For the Ambazonian people, your courage, your bravery, and your resilience are paid off. All Money Place Day. Thank you so much for this conversation for today. As you've all noticed, we are still having some technical issues with ACN. The technicians are watching this live broadcast to try to pinpoint the issues are coming. Have a great evening.